It's time to talk Padres baseball.
This place is electric.
Our 97.3 The Fan staff is together to break down everything both on and off the field with the San Diego Padres in our commercial-free Epic Padres Roundtable, sponsored by Epic Wings. Buckle up, Friar Faithful. We've got a lot to discuss. Now, here's your host, Ben Higgins.
Was I introduced?
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't hear. Or Ben was introduced. Welcome to the Epic Padres Roundtable, everybody. Brought to you by Epic Wings. Delicious, always fresh, never frozen. And speaking of always fresh, here we are with a brand new 1 hour long commercial-free Padre Roundtable. Chris Ello sitting in for the golfing Ben Higgins. I hope he's in a sand trap somewhere right now. And he's got like the big, that big lip of the sand trap that you can't get it out of there for like 2 or 3 swings. I hope that's where he is, because anyway, he's having a great time, I'm sure. And we're going to have a great time. Jake Garegnani from CBS Channel 8 is with us as our special guest analyst today. How are you, Jake? Good morning.
I do find it convenient every time I come on 97.3 that Ben has something to do, whether he's stuck in a pot bunker or whatever. Yeah. He's like, I got to go to Geneva. I got to go to Bandon Dunes.
He's terrified of you, dude.
I don't know what it is, but every time I come on, the guy's out of here.
He's intimidated.
That cannot be true. I'm 100% positive of looking.
Local sports anchor rivalries there.
Yeah, there we go. That's Braden Soprennant right here from the afternoon show, and Mr. Stephen Woods.
Hello.
And on the far end today, good to have you with us, Paul Reindl. How are you, Pablo?
I'm good.
Good to talk to you, sir. Paulie. I call you Pablo. They call you Paulie, right?
Yep. Yeah.
No Pablo.
It all works.
It all works for you. Well, it all worked for the Padres last couple of days, guys, right? After they lose 6 of 8, come back. They beat the Giants 10-5, beat them again yesterday 5-1. And I guess it's a little bit more of the same. You get to the 7th inning. We are an awful tough team to beat, Woodsy. That is 11 of the 22 wins now have been earned after the 7th inning. And I'm almost now not getting nervous. I just expect to do it now at the end of a game.
I got a little nervous yesterday with the multiple safety squeeze attempts. And I'm like, and when Fermin didn't come through, and then Ty France with an 0-1 count, I was like, what is happening? I mean, I will say that was the first time I've been really panicked late and figured, we may lose.
You and Craig Stammen, apparently. The
game speeds up on you, man. People don't get it. It really gets fast on you down there.
It was interesting to me because as that inning was playing out, and I think all managers are usually managing 3 or 4 hitters ahead, not just the next hitter. And I thought, if they get to a situation here late in the inning, the Giants could bring a lefty in to face Song, and with Merrill, right? He'd had 9-1, 2 lefties, so he could bring a lefty in. So I'm thinking, if I'm Stammen, I'm already thinking to myself, Ty France, he'd be my guy. But with the holdup that I don't think any of us knew was that France was yesterday's backup catcher because Campusano's down. Braden, I think that toyed a little bit with his thinking, and he had to kind of figure out what he wanted to do.
Yeah, that's definitely something you think about as a manager, because if he can't go and catch, then you run into even bigger problems maybe down the road. But I think that's the risk you're willing to take. I mean, the odds of that happening are very slim. If that happens in a game, you're probably not destined to win that game anyway. If you get into a situation where you can't even use your backup.
Well, Jay
catcher.
Cronenworth would probably be my 3rd string behind France, but he's on the IL, so I don't know where we would have gone.
Will Meyer's still part of the organization, right? Can you activate him in the middle of the game?
From the booth. Jake, I'm giving Craig Stammen a mulligan on this one. And I like the fact that he just came out and he said, you know what, it got me. This is all part of what I've liked about Craig Stammen so far. You know him really well. I mean, I know you've sat down with him. Has he been everything you kind of thought he would be so far?
I think in the uniqueness of getting to cover a guy that you covered as a player and then as a manager, I was curious to see what maybe the difference would be, right, from player to manager. And to a lot of your guys' points that I've heard you say on the radio, it's the exact same dude. It's the exact same cat, which I think the players that played with him appreciate, which I think the people that have covered him. And as a manager, it's a huge deal, right? When you know this guy's going to be even keel, super loose, super honest. When he was a player, he was super honest. He'd go out there and get rocked. You'd go up, he'd talk, he'd say, yeah, that one's on me. I'll take that one. And he does the exact same thing as a manager as we saw yesterday. And I think the players that play for him, the people that work for him, they really appreciate that honesty and that appreciation about it.
I'm reminded of when Gabe Kapler, he started with the Phillies, right, as the manager, and then went to the Giants. I remember when he was with the Phillies, us having a little fun with some of the mistakes that he made on the air, in the game. And then after, when he had to answer for it, he was the last guy to take accountability. He's like, well, why do you think that happened? He sits back and let me tell you what you don't know.
Right.
Instead of the guys, I totally biffed.
It's like, you're right, Gabe. We don't know.
Right.
That's why we're asking.
Yeah, you tell us.
That's not the reason we are asking questions.
It's not a gotcha moment. It's not like, ha, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Because I think, great teams have players that can cover up for managerial mistakes all the time. All the time. You see guys get to the postseason, you're like, how did you guys get there with that guy as the skipper? Ned Yost is a great example. Like, across baseball, people are like, the Royals won in spite of Ned Yost. They really did because they had good players.
I don't think we're winning in spite of Stammen.
And I don't think so either. Yeah. And I think, I did appreciate I screwed up. Can't believe I got caught by surprise. Hopefully it doesn't happen again.
All right, so they win these 2 games. They score 15 runs, and that tells me, oh, good, the offense is rolling. Except for Paul, 13 of the 15 runs were driven in by guys not named Merrill, Machado, or Tatis. And the lineup was mixed up around a little bit, and you can say, boy, it really worked. They kicked them into gear. Except for that trio. They hit 192 in the last 2 games. 4 of the 5 hits were by Merrill, by the way.
Right.
So is it possible, Paul, that the experts who keep saying, unless these 3 guys hit, the Padres can't win, maybe they're going to be wrong? Maybe these guys can't hit and will keep winning.
Well, look, when you look throughout baseball and you go and you look at World Series champions, there's always those role players that had not just a great series, they didn't get hot in October, but like they had career years. And they're the guys that you don't expect. They're not the 10+ year contract, statute contract, huge money guys. You need those guys in your rotation. You need them in your bullpen, and you need them throughout your lineup. And we're getting that production from the guys that we weren't expecting, because we were expecting the superstars to superstar at least a little bit. Hasn't really happened yet to this point. Like, if you were to ask me, where's my panic level? It's like a 5 moving towards a 6.
It's moving up then.
It's moving up because
it's moving up,
what do they usually say? What's the adage? You got to wait, 50 games, 40 games, 50 games before you really kind of have an idea of what you have in Major League Baseball.
They're getting close.
And we're getting close. We're at 30,
31, 32,
34 games, something like that. So we're getting close 36. To that point.
Yeah. That's close. That's close to 40. 36. It's close to 40.
It's closer to 40 than it is to 30.
That's right.
But I remember this is
why the morning show clicked so well, everybody.
I remember several points throughout last season. Now, they had the similar stretch at the beginning of the year where we rode that hot stretch most of the season. And it got to the point where, like, hey, maybe if you just take away those first 17 games, this is who the offense is. And we didn't want to believe it because it wasn't great. And that's kind of like where it's trending already this year is this just may be who they are, and they're going to have to gut out every single win they get.
But it's not sustainable, right? Like, right. I think we've seen a few things where it's great. This early part of the season has shown that good roster construction, good depth. We love to see that because, to your point, in the postseason, you need stuff like that. But over the course of 162, this would not be sustainable. Those guys, the Machados, the Tatises, the Merrills, and so on and so forth, would have to step up for this team to get anywhere near where they want to be. So it is at a point where, like you say, 5 to 6 panic level. Like, yeah, it's starting to tick up because you are getting deep into the season, and these guys have virtually done nothing.
Yeah.
All right, here's another thing, Braden Surprenant, that the experts have been telling us for the last 2 weeks. I don't consider myself an expert, but I've listened to them, and I keep passing this information along. If you hit the ball hard, you're going to be really successful. It just has to be. Well, Fernando Tatis Jr. is still hitting 60% hard hit rate, one of the best in baseball. But he just went 1 for 17. And he's not really hitting it as hard now. I think he hit one good shot, a ground ball to second, but hard shot to second base. He's swinging. He's fouling off pitches that are right down the middle. I'm not in his head, but it sure looks like it's starting to get to him a little bit. How could it not? What are you seeing?
Yeah, I think he's definitely in the process of him trying to, I think, find the swing like Tony talked about last week, that puts the ball over the fence. He's constantly tinkering. He's not getting the results that he wants, and it's adding more and more pressure to him on probably his internal clock of I can't believe I haven't hit a home run yet. And I think that's why maybe his hard hit percentage might have gone down just a little bit over this last stretch. I'm not like super worried about it because you paid him the contract you paid him to be Fernando, and Fernando has been Fernando the entire time. Now, I had this conversation with, some callers that are all upset on Monday. Monday was like the sky was falling for sure before they won 2 more games after the fact. But I want to ask this question. He hit 42 home runs in 2021. That was the year that, he might have had the PEDs, right? Because he got popped for it the next year. Every other year besides that, he's hit at least 20-something home runs between 20 and 25. What is a fair number of home runs for Fernando in a season?
Now?
Just in general.
This season?
No, just in like a general Fernando year. He hits 25 home runs. Are you pissed?
No, I'm not pissed at 25 home runs.
Are you mad at 20?
Not at Petco Park.
Maybe a little bit, but not anything over 20 is probably
anything
fine.
less than 25, you'd be like, that was a down year.
Right. So he's going to go through stretches where he doesn't hit home runs. And here's the other thing too. I think Tony might have mentioned this. When you give a guy a statute contract, you get all of his bad years too. He's going to have bad years, right? So you're not going to get all the great years. And so when you sign these guys to smaller contracts and it's like, oh man, you end up getting one of his bad years or 2 of his bad years in a 3-year deal. This guy was terrible for us. And then
like Soto.
Right. And then he goes play somewhere else. And it's like, oh, it's a change of scenery. No, it's not. He's going to have good years. He's going to have bad years. So I think the hard hit percentage shows you that it's not a lack of ability conversation. And you look at that over a course of a couple of different stretches. In terms of his not hitting the ball over the fence right now, I think that's obviously a problem when you have the contract that you gave him. You expect him to hit at least 20-something home runs. But while he's figuring out his swing, it's going to take a little bit of time for him to be able to do that. And in the meantime, by the way, do you know what he's hitting with runners in scoring position this year?
380.
It's like 380. Yeah. So it's not like he's not contributing. I think he's tinkering too much, almost like Xander did last year when he was in this stretch.
Epic Padres Roundtable is sponsored by Epic Wings, always fresh, never frozen. Jake Garegnani, kind of our guest analyst on the panel, so maybe a different take or two. But I want to point out a statistic because we talk a lot about give me a long period. Don't show me 33 games. Well, I'll give you a long period that's almost now a year. From June 1st to today, last June 1st, Fernando Tatis has 12 home runs. He hit 7 of those last September. He has months of 2, 2, 1, 7, and now 0. So maybe the 7 is the outlier, Jake. Maybe 12 to 15 is more the Fernando home run, especially this year. What are your thoughts?
I think Braden makes some great points when you talk about, hey, maybe he's a 20 home run or, you're saying 12 to 15. I think the thing that's concerning for me when you watch Fernando Tatis Jr. is just that. When you look at him at the plate, he doesn't feel like he's got that swagger to him, to that point he had. Like, even if you look back at, was it 24 in the postseason, against the Dodgers, the big leg kick, he's nuking balls to the Western Metal Supply Building. That swagger feels gone from Fernando Tatis Jr. more than anything. So we can look at analytics, we can look at hard hit rate, we can look at batting percentage with runners in scoring position, and all that stuff does look sexy and it's fine. But to me, when you just watch the guy at the plate, you go, where's the swagger? Where's the Fernando Tatis Jr. that we all love to see?
Don't recognize
that
this guy.
feels a little bit lost to me. That's my level of concern. Which you saw in the WBC.
Makes it even more shocking.
Which is more concerning a little bit, right? Like, so
it's hard to have one without the other.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Woodsy, how do you hit a home run when you're dying to hit a home run? You've got to hit a home run. It's so difficult, so much harder than it already is.
I can't imagine it doing off a 9-year-old, much less the guy. Really, you have to hit a home run here against a 9-year-old pitcher. I don't know that I could. I'm not kidding. And it's got to be. I mean, I'm sure he's up at night thinking about this all the time. I mean, he's the list of players he's associated with now with the number of qualified at bats is insane. They're not in his realm. They're not even close to the player he is. So it's got to be killing him. We went into this offseason, and we talked to him at spring training, And I was like, this dude's hitting 50. I mean, straight, this guy is hitting 50. He is back, MVP contender. And, he certainly hasn't been bad. I love when the Padres win baseball games, and however they choose to win them is great. But I do think it's important for his psyche, the psyche of it's going to be felt by every guy on that bench when he hits it. I mean, everyone's going to be like, oh.
I think they should give him the silent treatment 100% when he gets back to
would
the
be
dugout.
so good.
Just to kind of get a laugh out of it and get it out of the way.
And I want to say this too. We get the people in the chat, talking about Mopey, Fernando, Mopey this, Mopey that. I haven't seen the Mope really this year. I've seen a guy that's upset when he doesn't come through, which I'm fine with. I've seen a lot of guys. I've seen Laureano upset when he doesn't come through. I've seen Merrill upset. I've seen Manny. He's always the same. You would never know if he homered or K'd or whatever. But I think for Fernando, I think it sounds weird to say, I think he's done a good job to this point of managing it. I really do. I think he's done a good job.
Probably done a better job than any of us have done.
No question. And when he got moved down in the lineup the other day and he got moved to 5th, which he hadn't hit in since 2019 or something, he goes, it's baseball, man. I'm just here to help and play baseball. That's the right way to handle it.
We all know that he's a cat that has always worn his heart on his sleeve. For better
love that.
And for worse, right? And some people love it. Some people call it mopey. But I think that's what you see when you go, and I'm calling myself out here. I say, hey, where's the swagger? Well, when he's not playing well, it's hard to have that swagger.
Why would you have swagger if you're not playing well?
And then when he is, he does have that swagger. So I think you have to take the good with the bad when it comes to the body language experts and that stuff with Fernando Tatis Jr. because he's always worn it on his sleeve.
With the body language stuff, though, I guess I would always ask, what would you rather see? Like, if you're like, oh, Mopey Fernando. I'm like, well, he just struck out. He hasn't homered in, 84 years.
You want him skipping back to the dugout?
Exactly super thrilled. Do you want him jumping up and down? And
do you want the bat break over the knee? Like,
what would those comments look like?
Oh, look at this guy's unhinged. He's unhinged. You can't win. You cannot win.
All right, it's 9:16. I'm putting a 45-minute moratorium on what's wrong with Fernando.
Deal.
Let's move on to something that is not wrong. And I'll start with you, Paul. Where would we be right now without Xander Bogaerts? But it's a two-part question for all of you. Where would we be without him? Number one. Number two, over the last 3 years, what was your lowest point, and what were you willing to do with his contract and Bogaerts himself during that time?
Man, your first question, where would we be without Xander Bogaerts? I mean, I don't know, man. He has had such a good start to the season. I said a couple of days ago, we were talking off the air, and I told the guys, I go, man, he's one of those guys where he's going to be here for a long time. Like, he's a Padre now. And yet, for whatever reason, he kind of just felt like the fourth guy. It's been Manny, Toddy, Merrill, and then you just kind of threw Xander into the mix. And as I started just kind of taking a step back and watching him play well, not just play, but play well, I go, he is such a likable, rootable for type player where I'm just going, Boston, you screwed up. Like, I understand why he had so much success in Boston. I hope we can continue to see glimpses of that because it's been really fun to watch. He seems like a great teammate. He seems like an extremely even-keeled guy.
Shows up in October.
Shows up when it counts.
Shows up in October.
Like, he's had the struggles. Now, he was also very injured. Like, when you can't use your wrist, your game is going to be impacted negatively. And I never saw a ton of moping or attitude issues from Xander. Like, he's always kind of just been steady, and I like that.
How close did you finish up, Paul?
No, I was going to say
your second part
two. How close was I going to get? I mean, I think we were all at the point where we were like, dude, DFA and get whatever you can, like, whatever you can get for him.
Eat
at this
the
point.
contract.
Eat the money. Maybe the Padres eat $140 million, and it was absurd. That was never going to happen.
Right, Woodsy, how much money would you have if you had a dime for every text or tweet you've gotten saying to get rid of Xander the last 3 years?
Bro, not only the texts and tweets I've gotten, but my own personal thoughts. I'd be sitting on a mountain of dimes, Chris. I would have so many dimes. It's so cool to see. I've hit with a guy that has hit with Xander, that has helped him a little bit. And to hear the work that he's put in behind the scenes, off campus, so to speak, off season. I've talked to this guy extensively about it. He's shown me, personal video. This is where he was, and this is where he is now. It's really cool to see. And you can see, like, when he starts staying back, waiting, boom, explodes on the baseball. And now, he's seen it so well. He's hitting the ball out of the ballpark, man. It's so awesome to see. Defense has been good. He's a kind of a complete player right now for the Padres. But yeah, man, I'd be lying through my teeth if I said I wasn't. Hey, man, trade a prospect or trade 2 prospects if you have to. You got to get somebody to eat this contract, be free of it, and start over. And for now, he's making a lot of us eat our words.
I think even in hindsight, you can go back, of course, and would you have spent that $208 million differently? Of course. We didn't need him, but I at least can see. You see the glimpse of going. Okay. I see what AJ was going for. I see why this was an attractive signing for him.
Jake, how many times did you lie through a smile on TV talking about Xander Bogaerts the last 3 years?
You know what's funny about this is, as weird as it sounds, it almost feels like we're playing with house money at this point. Because I feel like a lot of us, including myself, probably were like, yeah, chalk it up. Like, this guy's going to be here for a long time, and he's just not going to post, and it's going to be pretty ugly. And I know he's got a huge contract, but now that he's producing, it's like, oh, all right, now we kind of got a little something here with Xander Bogaerts. I think I was like everybody else, where you were just kind of like, this is a disaster of a signing. This isn't going to work out for the San Diego Padres. And now that you're starting to see some of the fruits of what they put into it, I think it's huge for this team. And I think it's something that every year you kind of have whatever it is that changes the outlook of a season. And so far in the early part of this year, it feels like it's like Luis Campusano, Xander Bogaerts, and a couple other cats that are really changing it.
Month and a half into the season, I think he's the MVP, and that's saying something with Mason Miller on the team. But Bogaerts is there every day. I would have to give him the trophy right now. But let's remind everybody, Braden, baseball goes up, baseball goes down. Xander probably have a slump here somewhere, and pretty soon you'll be getting the same text you always got. What happened in April was a mirage. So how should we couch all this that's happening, and are you seeing anything different?
He's obviously hitting the ball a lot better. I think that's easy. I just want to say, as somebody that had to defend his honor every day for the last, 2.5 years, and not buying into the whole, you got to trade him and everything like that. It's great to watch him actually go out there and perform at a high level, and be the player that I think the Padres expected him to be when they signed him. I agree with Paul. The guy works his ass off. He puts the time in. He is a great teammate in the clubhouse. He is a guy that you want your young little leaguer or softball player to be like. That's the type of player he is each and every day. And you mentioned it, last year, I think he hit he finally got a post-game interview because he had a big game, and it was his first big game in months. And, he took kind of a step back for a second and just, talked about the pressure. And he's like, hey man, I got to be better. And he acknowledged that. He didn't fight it. He didn't turn into Mr. Defensive on how he's trying and stuff. So I love that Xander Bogaerts is having the year that he's having. It helps the Padres out. And you're going to get that. You're going to get guys that go through slumps, and the other ones have to pick it up. And right now, with Manny Tatis not doing very well, and maybe in Jackson Merrill, you got guys like Xander Bogaerts stepping up and really carrying this team. And I agree with you, Chris. From a position player standpoint, he is your position player MVP at this point in the season.
When I think it said a lot to fans that weren't sure, because a lot of fans had just decided that Xander's a disaster, and we couldn't change their mind if he had 50 home runs this year.
I got DMs every single day. I was on vacation in Italy getting a full breakdown on why this guy is the worst player on the planet. I'm just sitting there going come on, man.
We've heard it a few times.
Just watch the games.
All you need to, but if you're still somebody who wonders about Xander Bogaerts, to me, all you had to do was see the kind of ovation this man got in Boston 4 years after he left there. He must have done a few things right that the people responded to 4 years later. Because remember, the last time the Padres were in Fenway, he wasn't active. This was their first time to thank him, and they remembered, Paul. I mean, that says a lot about a guy, if you ask me.
Oh, yeah. No, Woodsy just said it. 2 rings will do that for you. I mean, you're a god now in Boston, in Beantown.
You'd be a god here, too. Make no mistake.
One ring. We only need one.
Just need one.
I love a lot of those guys, but the 98 team, how much do we celebrate the 98 team? Just imagine how we will celebrate the team that wins it.
Steve Garvey had a home run in a championship game that wasn't even a World Series, and his numbers retired.
like you will have, the middle reliever that didn't have a huge role on that World Series Padres team. Like he'll never have to buy a beer in San Diego for the rest of his life.
Craig Lefferts is still cashing in on sandwiches from 1984, or at least I hope he is. Padre Roundtable, Epic Wings, brought to you by the Epic folks at Epic Wings. Always fresh, never frozen. All right, time for our draft. This is the Roundtable draft. Jake, the way this works is I'll start with you because you'll have the easiest selection here, but I'll give you the category. You have to pick one, and then everybody else has to pick one, but they can't repeat what's already been taken. It's a draft. There's plenty of choices here. I start thinking about this nowadays because I don't know what the Padres are going to look like tonight. I don't know what they're going to look like tomorrow night. I certainly don't know what they're going to look like Sundays or Saturdays or on the road. What I'm talking about is all the choices in uniforms they now have these days. I thought the Padres are not like the Yankees, where they've had the one uniform since Babe Ruth. We've changed up how many dozen times? Go back through, give me your favorite Padre uniform. The look that if they had to tomorrow say, we're only wearing one more uniform the rest of the way, which one would you want them to pick?
So this won't be a popular opinion, but it's my first pick, so I'm just going to take
your
it.
Pick, sure.
It's the one I fell in love with as a kid growing up, watching Cleo Green, of all people, play shortstop for the San Diego Padres. The sand brown road bow tie San Diego Padres, like early 2000s jersey. Yeah,
I think they called them the mustards too.
I almost guarantee that I'm probably the only person that would take that. But I love that like sandy brown that they had, the early 2000s one with the bow tie San Diego and like the sand gold SD interlocking and the blue hat. Those were my favorite jerseys of all time.
And Tony Gwynn Jr. wore those, and he speaks highly of them.
You know what's funny about that? Not to derail this real quick, but I was at a game in Colorado when I was growing up, and Tony Gwynn Jr. was in that uniform and flipped me a baseball over the dugout one time when I was like an 11-year-old. I told him that story. He said, cool.
That's cool. Hey, did that for a lot of kids, man.
A lot of kids got that.
Man.
It was also easy. I was the only Padre fan in a crowd of 7 there in Colorado, so it was pretty easy to get it.
Yeah.
All right, the sand jerseys or slash mustard are off the board. Woodsy, give me your favorite Padre uniform of all time. You got a lot to choose from.
I love the road browns so much, man. I love them. I don't think,
Which one's road browns?
Pinstripe sand ones? Or
the dark brown.
The dark brown.
We don't wear those enough.
We don't wear them enough.
Okay, the current brown.
Browns, yeah.
Current brown, okay.
Road browns, right?
They have the home whites. They have the road solid browns,
Those are the
and then
ones.
they have the sand,
which I like
the
those
gray,
too.
with the yellow pinstripes.
But I like the dark brown.
I like when we wear the brown. They don't seem to wear it enough.
Dude, I remember being on the old station when our show just started, and I was like, look, I just want to win games. I don't really care. Then we went to the uniform reveal.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah. And then we went to fantasy camp. We got the Browns, and I love them. I just think they look so good.
We don't wear those enough.
We don't wear them enough.
No.
I mean,
You
that's
got to talk to the starting pitchers. They get to choose from what I'm told.
Is that right?
Well, if that's the case. Darvish wore it a lot, and Randy wears it. But other than that,
that's what I've been told. The starting pitcher decides each day what the uniform will be.
That's always been kind of the tradition in baseball.
Yeah, I believe it.
Now it's so much
more. Now you have
city,
too much to choose from.
There's so much politicking, though. It's like Friday is always
Friday you have to wear it. Right. I don't think you get a choice.
Sunday, you're wearing the military.
Right. Friday's your city. Okay, so you got City Connects, you got military. We can go all the way back to the 80s and even the 60s, way before you were born, Paulie. What is your standout? And you can't use either of those two.
Sure. My initial answer was going to be just growing up, being born in 1990, and then growing up in Seattle and rooting for a team in a different division. Like my only connection really to the Padres was Tony Gwynn and, Trevor Hoffman, some of those guys in the, Caminiti in the 90s. So I always think of I just think of Tony and the blue, the navy blue from the 90s. That just, the orange accents
sick.
like that.
Blue
just
and orange
screams,
pinstripes.
So sick.
Yeah, it just screams Padres baseball to me. So I would probably go with that. Although the other current road uniform, the sand, the other whatever.
All right, it's a draft. You can't have.
Which one are you picking?
It was one of those. I'm gonna go with the blue though. The 98.
He's gonna go with blue alternates.
Blue and orange is just so
blue
cool.
from 98. You know what? I did like those alternates in 98. The blue pullover tops that they wore too.
You know what?
Go ahead.
When the navy blue hat and the orange and white,
yes,
came out. I was in high school in Connecticut, a million miles away. And it was the hottest hat. Everybody had to have. It was like when the White Sox came out with their Everyone had to have, and there's a picture of me in that Padres hat. Everybody had to have that Padres hat when it came out.
Those White Sox ones were
those
hot
were
item.
sick,
and they still wear them. All right, Braden Soprano, you're getting the 4th pick here in the uniform draft.
Well, I was torn between the 98 alternates that Paul picked and the 98 pinstripes. When we started talking about the 98s, I was like, all right, well, I get to pick whatever's left over.
98 is
the pinstripes. I mean, for me and a lot of kids my age growing up here in San Diego, the blue and orange has always been our favorite color scheme of the Padres. I like the brown and gold. I think it fits well for the Friars, everything like that, but I'm so glad the City Connects kind of played a little bit on the 98, which I think is great.
The newer ones.
Yeah, the newer ones. But so my favorite's the pinstripe blue and orange Padres that they had, that, again, like synonymous with Tony Gwynn and Steve Finley and Ken Caminetti and Kilvio Veras and all those guys from that 98 team. That's probably my favorite. If they wore that tonight, I'd be stoked.
Oh, it'd be amazing.
Some of the ones that didn't get any kind of mention or everything before that, really. And the 84, they called them the taco uniforms for whatever reason.
So cool.
The brown and orange that they got to the World Series in. I thought the early day Padres ones of Nate Colbert and Winfield were very classy, very understated. Those are kind of fun. But if I had to vote what's left over, I'd go with the road pinstripes of Current.
Yeah.
Because it combines
So
the pinstripe with a little of the sand that you're talking about. I really like those. I know you brought up the brown ones, Woodsy, but I like it better when they're in the pinstripes on the road.
Yeah.
So
I like that chocolatey, rich brown.
I'm on Woods' side here.
On those ones.
They got to wear those more, especially.
They got to.
Because at that uniform debut that we were all at, they said that was the road uniform.
I know.
And the sand were the alternate.
Yeah.
And they wear the sand way more than they wear the brown.
sand,
right, yeah.
They're clean.
Sand became the more go-to on the road. All right, Padres Epic Roundtable brought to you by Epic Wings. Always fresh, never frozen. We're halfway home, guys. And I wanted to ask something that has kind of always been a thought of mine. And I'm asking it on a difficult day. And I'll tell you why. This has to do with the notion of the opener. Yesterday, the Padres used the opener officially, where they asked a guy to go 1 inning. It was the first time since September of 2022. So the Padres are not one of these teams that do it, obviously, very often. I think it was the Tampa Bay Rays of the COVID season that seemed to invent it. Maybe it's because I hate the COVID season, but I also hate the Rays for inventing it. As a pitcher, I just never I couldn't have imagined somebody asking me to go out there in the second inning. I never liked the opener, but everybody talks about it like it is the end all. And yesterday it worked to perfection, right? Bradley got the first 3. Waldron gave you 5.
It was awesome.
Now you're deep in the game. You're like, why don't we do this all the time? So tell me in your mind, start with you, Braden, this time. Why should I like the opener, and what is really the reasoning behind it? I know what they say, but why couldn't Waldron have just pitched 5 and Bradley pitched the 6th? You'd be in the same position.
So you said that was the first time they only had 1 inning. Because
officially,
didn't Wandy do it last year?
They officially
went to Dodger Stadium and started and pitched 2 innings.
I'm using the Kevin AC morning story as my source.
Familiar,
yeah,
actually.
didn't Wandy do it against the Dodgers last year? I thought he did. But
He maybe
went
start 2 innings.
2 innings though.
He might have
went
gone 2. Anyway, all right.
My philosophy on the open, I'm not a super traditionalist when it comes to baseball for certain things. I'm also not a pitcher, so I don't understand the whole politics and the egos of like having to be a starter, reliever, all that stuff. I view it as whatever we think strategy wise is going to give us an opportunity to win or an advantage to win. I'm all for it. So in terms of the opener, it doesn't really bother me when they do it. It doesn't bother me if they don't do it. But like yesterday, I was thinking a couple of different things. Like maybe there's something where they don't think, Matt Waldron's great in the opening inning, right? Or maybe they're like, you know what? We got other guys coming back. We want to see if we can use Waldron coming out of the bullpen in some capacity. Maybe let's give him that environment. The other one, too, I just thought just for this series, How many times has Casey Schmidt let off the inning with a 2-run bomb?
Right.
It could have been a situation like, all right, okay. Matt Waldron's been okay, has been very great. He's had hard contact given up. We cannot afford to be down 2-0 in the first inning for a third consecutive day. Yeah. Let's pitch Bragley, who they're not going to see well, that's throwing high velo early, and let's put up a 0 and feel confident with the 0. I could see them doing that as well. I'm sure they won't tell us exactly why they use the opener, but it worked yesterday, and Matt Waldron pitched the best he has had all season.
Yeah, it worked beautifully. And actually Stammen did share after the game that their strategy thinking was that Waldron would not have to face the first 3 hitters 3 times. But somebody has to face these guys. What do you think of the opener, Jake? Is it overrated, even coming off the heels of a day when it worked to perfection?
I think it's overrated in a sense of there's a reason you don't see Tarek Skubal getting an opener. There's a reason you don't see Michael King getting an opener, right? You pick and choose your battles with these situations. The great pitchers in the games, you're not going to go throw an opener out there. But with that being said, I think a lot of yesterday too, they can say strategy, and I think Braden makes a great point about certain strategies that are used for an opener. For me, yesterday was, hey, we got to get Matt Waldron's mindset reset a little bit, whether that is just something different, whether it is coming out of the bullpen. Guy had like a 10 ERA going into yesterday, right? So it's like whatever we need to do to make it look different, to make it feel different. And whatever it was worked because he was shoving yesterday. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that maybe it got him into a different routine. Maybe he was thinking a little bit differently than he normally did in a start. Maybe there was a little bit of pressure off because he wasn't making that quote unquote official start. So I think if you pick and choose your battles with these openers, they can be useful in certain times like we saw yesterday. But also at the same time, they're overrated in the sense of, if you're a good enough pitcher, the hell with the opener, right?
Woodsy, it worked. Bradley came in, boom, 1, 2, 3. Yep. It was like 6 or 7 pitches. It was like, couldn't have asked for more. But if the opener comes in and gives a 4 in the first, now what are you going to do?
Well,
I mean, that's what I'm thinking also.
In that regard, you got your 5 starter in Matt Waldron's case, maybe your 7 starter, right? So you don't care. You don't care. Okay. You're willing to take that risk because what's going to happen is Waldron's going to go out and wear it anyway. He's going to if Bradley comes in and is horrible and gives up 4 or 5 runs, from there, okay, Matty Waldron, go out, keep us in this ball game. He's going regardless,
Paulie?
I like what Jake said. I mean, look, you got to pick and choose your battles, and there's a reason guys like Michael King and Nick Pivetta, when he's healthy, like they're not the openers, or they're not getting the opener treatment because you have a lot of confidence in them. Did anybody have a ton of confidence in Matt Waldron heading into yesterday's game? I didn't think so. Like I probably had at least the same level of confidence in Bradley, and I understand the logic of, hey man, Casey Schmidt has been murdering our pitching staff. Maybe we don't give the struggling Matt Waldron
knuckleballer,
give him as few cracks at the top of your order as you possibly can and still get 5 strong innings out of him, and only getting 2 Casey Schmidt at bats or 2 times at the top of the order versus 3. Like statistically, I understand the logic, and it of course it worked out. So we liked it, but even if it didn't work out, I mean, Matt Waldron could have gone out there in the first inning and given up 3 home runs just as easily as Bradley could have.
Clearly, you guys have never managed Little League before, so the opener is a foreign concept to you guys. Where the top of the order,
the opener in Little League.
The top of the we have pitch counts too, so the top of the order is stacked.
So you're going to get your closer in the first.
You get my best arm in the first.
Woodsy.
We got to keep him for the next game. Keep him fresh.
Jake Garegnani from CBS 8 is our guest panelist. He's right in the middle of this Padre Roundtable, brought to you by Epic Wings, always fresh, never frozen.
I have a counter question to that.
Yeah.
This is just me spitballing it. Would you probably not, because of the fact that you want them up as many times as possible, when the other team announces an opener, why don't you just have your top 3 guys bat 4, 5, 6?
I know.
I'm just
because again, if they do choose the opener, and like
who gets the last choice, like on the whole pitch, like when you announce a guy coming in,
right,
and then you announce the pinch hitter. At what point is Major League Baseball like this?
You have to declare your lineup,
right? Is you have to declare your lineup, you have to declare your starter,
because I do
switch
think
it in the manager meeting.
If you're Vitello or if you're Stammen and the other team's using an opener. Yeah, okay, you may get us in the first, but I still want my best guys.
Exactly.
More ABs there. The temptation for me yesterday was, I don't know how you don't do it. I'll ask Craig this tomorrow. was there ever any thought of like, go on, give us another one? Man, that was like ridiculously
7
easy.
pitches.
Like,
We had to do it again.
Go out and do it again, and then we're through 2, and we'll
we're even closer to the end of the game.
Kind of keep chipping away there.
Maybe if they had a day off today.
Yeah,
I think one of my old school problems that I'm having with all of this opener talk, because the more I'm thinking about it and listening and now discussing it for a couple of days, is that you want to avoid the top of the order. But I guess my thinking was always, well, the best hitters used to be the 4, 5, 6 hitters.
That's right.
So
well,
this
if you're
would
the
be
Padres,
silly.
they're the 7, 8, 9 usually,
right?
or 6, 7, 8, right?
People are going to put their opener in the 3rd inning
That's
tonight
right.
against the Padres.
That's right.
Could you imagine throwing your closer as an opener because it's the only guarantee you're going to face the 1, 2, 3?
That's it.
Mason
right?
Miller just goes out there and shows it.
Boom,
Hey,
boom,
look,
boom.
that's one less time we got to face.
I mean, it's like, look, you would never do it, but can you imagine like a must-win game?
We gotta
in
get one
October
inning.
against the
Yeah.
Dodgers with that top
it's a
of their order.
guarantee that you're going
like,
to have
hey,
your
Mason
best
Miller,
guy.
it's the 5th inning.
By
Guess
the
what?
way, best job ever done by an opener in Padre history, even if it may not have officially been an opener.
Craig Stammen.
Craig Stammen in game
Playoff
3 of
game.
the
Yeah,
playoff against the Cardinals.
was
Saved the
amazing.
day.
Remember that? He brought in, he got the start. All right, let's move on to a couple of other quick things. And just I'll go down the road quick. Let's not get too deep into all of these struggles, but Jake's on the IL. Good timing. That's kind of what I'm looking at. Like, I don't know. I hope he's fine. I'm sure the concussions are a bit of a problem, etc. I hope he goes to a dark place where they have a hitting cage and he just works on this swing until his hands are bleeding. And we start getting to see a little more of Jake again, because if this goes another month or two, I think it's going to be a problem, right? He's got a huge contract. People are like, we could send him to the minor. Like, really? No, I don't know. Paul, what are you thinking with Jake here moving forward?
Let's save this so when next year he's on a tear like Xander Bogaerts, we can replay it.
Yeah, for sure.
Run it back for Braden. That's
right.
Well, I mean, this is today's roundtable, though, Braden.
That's
I'm
right.
not doing
Hey,
next
Jake,
year.
2026 is your year to be on the chopping block
That's
every
right.
single game.
Yeah.
It's tough, man. He's pretty much look, this is a guy that got a contract extension that probably was unnecessary, at least timing wise. He had plenty of years of control. It kind of took at least me by surprise, going, wow, is this really just because of that double in the NLCS? Okay. But look, he's here and he's making $12 million for the next 3.5 years. We still have him for 3 full seasons after this. So I don't think Jake's going anywhere. I saw it was suggested on our show this morning that because of 2 games of Sungwoon Song, the Padres already have the dilemma when Jake gets off the IL that are they going to have to DFA him or Song? You got to choose one.
I
or the
hope
other.
nobody out there wants to ever wear number 24 again, because I think they're about to retire it.
I think it's
based
a
on
little
those 2 games.
quick for that. I don't think Jake's going to get DFA'd anytime soon, but he has declined pretty much every year of that contract. And so I think with Jake, I've always been the guy that's like, look, man, it doesn't take much with the market the way it is now in Major League Baseball to give $12 million worth in Major League Baseball. That's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. But in baseball terms, it's really not that much. But bench guys can make $12 million now. Can Jake give us that much?
Yeah.
$12 million worth? I think it's still in there.
Woodsy, are you almost more worried about Jake because we like Jake so much?
Yeah, I mean, Jake's he's been amazing to our show, and just he's an amazing person. Like, he's just a really, really, really great dude. I've had conversations with him off the air about way more than baseball, and you get to like these guys a lot and root for them. And for Jake, I don't know what it is. I mean, last year's second highest OBP on the team. So talked to him in spring training, was feeling great, loved the new camp, was getting his work in. And then came out and, the swing was just kind of jacked, right? Just trying to, everything is straight up. And I think for him, the concussion thing, and I believed him. Like, I believed it was affecting him, because I feel like Jake would be the type of player, knowing him a little bit, that if they had said, hey, you have to do this, that he'd be like, yeah, I feel fine, but the doctor said, he was like, no, I'm messed up. Like, this has been messing with me. I feel hungover. I have for 4 days in a row. I've been texting people with concussions. They've been telling me these are the symptoms. And yeah, I need to get it figured out. So no need to rush him back, right? Nice that you have a guy that can fill in. But I think we need Jake Cronenworth to win on this team. I do. I think he can play multiple positions. He's got a great glove. I trust him in the field. And, if he needs to lean into one, he'll wear one, even if it's in the jaw to get on base. He fights he fights and bleeds to win.
He fights for this
team. Yeah, 100%. I admire
don't disagree.
that. I do.
Jake, I'm going to save you for last on Jake. Let's go to Braden Surprenant, an always critical and analyst of such situations.
Except for Xander Bogaerts, of course, from last year.
Except for Xander, yeah.
A lot of it is his swing, of course. I mean, you look at the numbers on like his swing path. I think the worst thing that he could have said in spring training is like, oh, I want to, be like I was in 2020. And he's working on trying to put the ball over the fence, which he's not really that guy anymore. And he wasn't really that guy to begin with. So, I feel like if he just goes back, if he could go and not worry about like having to put the ball over the fence, I think it's going to work out for him. I think his swing, of course, is very much an uppercut, which you can see he's been working on. And as somebody that has also got a concussion before, I can't imagine when I had a concussion and I was going through all the symptoms and I had to go through all that process, I couldn't imagine trying to go play baseball doing that. I mean, you can't even like sit down and like, you can't watch TV, you can't do this, you can't do that. You got to like be woken up every once in a while you go to sleep. Like it's not a fun thing to deal with. And then he's got to go out there and face. So considering the circumstances, obviously it's tough, but as much as everybody wants to, in our fan base and everybody's fan base, fans like the DFA and cut guys and replace them with all-stars. That's great. I'd love to do that too, but you have to give him the opportunity to play his way out of it because he's under contract.
Song is a 333 career hitter.
I know. It's going to be tough competition, but they're going to have to. You have to give him some reps. He's got to get an opportunity to play his way out of it. And I think hopefully when he comes back, he'll work out for him.
Really good timing. Jake on Jake. Okay, Jake Garegnani from CBS 8. Your thoughts?
I think without repeating what all these great gentlemen just said about the struggles that Cronenworth's going through, because those are very real and true. I think this is a great microcosm, and I would encourage fans to look at this way. The fact that I know we're blowing the Sungmin Song thing out of proportion, joking about how good he's been, but again, I kind of go back to like, look at the construction of this roster. You have a guy like Jake Cronenworth go down, and instantly there isn't a beat missed, right? Sungmin Song comes up, and he makes a huge impact right away. You have a Manny Machado struggling. You have a Fernando Tatis Jr. struggling, and yet this team is still finding ways to win games. So I think it kind of goes to a point where like, it's great to be a struggling star on a team that's winning rather than be a struggling star on a team that is struggling. So while you kind of have the rest of the guys carrying the weight, Jake Cronenworth, Fernando, Manny, these guys can kind of figure it out without that pressure of like, hey, we're sliding down the standings while you continue to struggle. So I think we all hope, because of how great of a human being Jake Cronenworth is, that whatever it is, he figures it out. But in the meantime, the construction of this roster allows these players to be able to kind of get right while they're still winning games.
You brought up a good point. Would you rather be Rafael Devers right now or any of the struggling Padres?
Or Willie Adames or Matt Chapman,
anybody on the Giants?
Really? Anybody on that entire lineup.
Didn't you guys know that as soon as Vitello went out to take the starter out yesterday, that he blew the game?
Absolutely.
He's got that. There's just that image with him for whatever.
Yep.
I don't even go deeper into that because I know in San Francisco on Giants Roundtable today they're having
losing their minds.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the seventh inning stretch, guys. Not necessarily away from the Padres, but not away from sports today. This one is not a draft format. You can pick the same if you'd like, Jake. But the question today is, who does what we do you like? And who does what we do you just can't quite get into their shtick?
How long we got here?
We start with Woodsy.
I want to just say before we start, we are not eligible, not because I'm expecting anybody to vote for us, but because so you can't vote against us on the negative side. Paul, who does sports talk? A group, a pair, a duo, a single guy says stuff that you really like to listen to, and is there somebody that you just can't quite get into?
I will admit, I actually don't listen to very much sports talk at all, actually, because I don't really want to even subconsciously ever steal someone's opinion and forget where I might have heard it or take their original thought. Like, hey, what do you think about this new rule proposal in baseball or something? And I'm like, I just don't want to influence my own thoughts very much at all. So I don't listen to a ton of sports talk radio, but traditionally, like over the years, I was always a Lebitard fan, but Dan Patrick's always been the GOAT of sports talk radio for me. He's just, his show has always been so fun. I loved the Danettes and the ensemble type radio show that he's always had. Great guests, entertaining, not afraid to go away from sports at times, but he was always kind of the gold standard, I thought. What do I not like?
Oh yeah, you got to give me. You don't have to give me one if you don't want to.
I've replaced our Ben and Woods show has replaced him two times. Two times.
Enough said. Woodsy, how about you? I think you're a sports junkie, but I'm a little like Paul. I don't like to listen to too much of it because I want to feel like everything's fresh.
I'm just like a sneaky sports junkie in that, like, I'll get down weird rabbit holes about the Broad Street bullies of the Flyers, and so I'm weird. I like stories.
I like stories.
I really love stories. I love Jeff Pearlman. I think Jeff Pearlman does a great job at his Inside the Press Box, whatever it's called, podcast. He does a great job. But locally, Darren Smith always has been. When I was at 94.9, before I was on even doing sports radio, they did an all access questionnaire, and they had, who do you listen to? I would get off the air at 10. And I would go listen to D. Smith after I was done, and got the chance to work with him. And he's on our show every Friday. He'll be on tomorrow. D. Smith is one that I really admire. He's one I can't listen to a lot because I will steal his ideas, right? Because he does have a measured take. As far as people I don't like, the list is long, but I'll just go nationally. I don't really like to hear national guys talk baseball very much, like Cowherd and Stephen A. Smith. It's just kind of lost. It's very clear they don't pay it a lot of mind, and when they try to talk about it and be smart, it's pretty tough.
Baseball takes a little bit of extra insight.
It needs a little bit more commitment.
You
it
can
really
show
does.
your lack of knowledge if you talk too much baseball.
You need a lot of commitment to 162.
Jake Garegnani, give me your go-to and your go away from.
I think I have such a level of respect because sometimes I think the good ones like yourselves make this job look really easy, right? And I don't think it's as easy as a job as some people think it might be. So I have a very, very high level of respect for the people that do this job, and you guys all included. I listen to you guys a lot without stealing takes, I hope, and really appreciate it. And then certainly the local TV guys, the Darnays, the Julians, the Togersons, Ben Higgins, of course.
I was just going to say, you better say his name.
Very talented at what he does. Marty Caswell, AJ Caswell, Dennis Lynn, like the list locally, who I've gotten to know these people and have a really high level,
good crew here.
A really high level of respect for. There is one person in the market though that's just not very good at what they do. Night in, night out, just getting stuff wrong, not very talented. And it's the sports guy for CBS 8, that Jake Garegnani guy. Dude just stinks at his job.
I told you that we're not eligible for this.
Well, I thought you meant the four of you.
You're included in that.
I just have such a level of respect for the people in this industry that I really don't have like this person drives me nuts or anything kind of thing. I know that's not the answer you wanted, but
no, that's fine.
But I think I'd probably be at the bottom of that totem pole if we were being
Get
honest.
out of here. Totally ridiculous. Braden Surprenant, I know it's going to be a struggle for you to find somebody you like, and you can only name one person you don't like.
I don't like. I would go with locally growing up. I used to listen to Darren's show all the time. Yep. I mean, not to age Darren at all, but I remember in high school when I first got my truck. I remember I loved half days because that means I got to tune into Darren on the way driving around. It was awesome. And Darren was cool. Him and Mike Costa were super cool. When I was in college, I had a class project where I had to interview somebody in radio. And so Darren brought me in to the station you guys used to work at. And I sat there and talked with him for 2 hours before his show. He didn't have to do that. That was great. And, he really
told me that he hated that.
Yeah, I'm sure. But he gave me the confidence. He's like, you know what, man, you seem like you really want to get after it. We could use guys like you coming up through this industry. I thought was super cool of him. Same thing with Mike Costa. In terms of people on now, I really like Mark Packard. I don't listen to sports talk, but during the college football season, I am listening to ESPNU radio a lot because, we talk baseball, but I love college football. So I get my own fix on college football. Packard knows what he's talking about. As somebody that coaches football, I like getting that, extra inside that not a lot of people might see that he that he knows what's going on behind the scenes, a lot of X's and O's. So I like him and Mike Mayock. I don't know if he's a sports talk guy. He's the best football analyst ever.
I'm gonna go a little more national. I'm still old school PTI. I don't think anybody. I think a million people have copied it.
Great, man.
I don't think anybody's beaten it. I think it's still the best. I think the guys are solid. They're fair. They play off of each other really well.
Yeah,
I can watch that show and enjoy it.
It's one of the few you can.
I can listen to the podcast and drive around. The guy that drives me a little crazy, I know he's a big star, and it's more like it's probably because I'm more old school than he is. But Pat McAfee's kind of a blowhard to me, and I don't really have time for his gig.
I can see you.
So you can
Pat
see me not being a Pat McAfee. It doesn't mean that he's pretty damn good at what he does. All right.
Every group chat has that sports convo. We just do it on the air. Catch